Guys, I'm going to discuss about the topic government budget and the economy. This is the unit 4 of the macroeconomics. First of all, let me discuss about the literary meaning of the budget. It is the estimated value. Budget means it is an estimated value. This term can be applicable in different manners. It can be applied as your education budget, as your household budget, as your own personal budget, as your district budget, maybe the village budget, maybe the state budget, maybe the country's budget. For a particular purpose, suppose you are receiving something else and you are going to spend something else, the entire amount is coming in the form of this budget. Before going to make expenditure, you are planning to earn something else, that is known as the budget. Now, what is the meaning of this government budget? The meaning of this government budget, it is a financial statement shows the estimates of government income and expenditure for a specific fiscal year. The statement is telling it is a financial statement shows the estimates of the government. Estimates? What estimates? The income estimate and expenditure estimates. Estimates of the income and estimates of the income expenditure for a specific fiscal year. Now, under Article 112 of Constitution, thrust back. Article 112 of Constitution specified the presentation of budget by the ruling government before the Parliament Assembly. Before the Parliament Assembly. This is the statement. Now let me discuss what are the objectives of the government budget. Objectives of government budget. There are 6 objectives of the government budget. Number 1, reallocation of resources. This is the first and most important objective of the government budget. This reallocation of resources having 2 sides. Number 1, the profit generation by the government, and the second side is welfare of the economy. Means government is reallocating the resources to generate profit by producing more goods and services, by encouraging private sector and the public sector to produce more and more goods and services for the profit making, and producing goods and services by the public units for the welfare purpose, for the welfare of the economy. This is the first major objective of this government budget, reallocation of resources.
Number 2, reducing inequalities. Through the taxation policy, generate tax from the richer section and provision of public goods. Provision of public goods for the poorer section of the economy. So, this reducing inequality has two aspects. One is the taxation policy, that means government is raising taxes to earn money for the welfare purpose, and another provision of public goods for the poorer section. Through this process, the government can reduce the inequality in the economy. Number 3, stability, economic stability. Economic stability is the process where aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. It is a stable economy. An economy is stable when the aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply. But in general sense, in our day-to-day life, it is not the situation. Sometimes aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply and aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply, and this one is known as the inflationary situation, and this is known as the deflationary situation. So, in order to make a balance between aggregate demand and aggregate supply, the government budget is applicable. Through the government budget, we can bring a balance between aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Here, aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply. This is the inflationary situation. Aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply. This is the deflationary situation. So these two situations can be avoided through the government budget, through the taxation policy, and through the expenditure policy by the government. So these are the situations of this economic stability. Now let me discuss about another one, management of public enterprise. The fourth one, public enterprise. Management of public enterprise. Through the government budget, some of the revenue are allocated to manage the public enterprises, to increase the production for the welfare purpose, or to purchase different type of stationaries, or in order to provide different type of salaries to the public enterprise, the public companies. This is the fourth one. Then coming to the fifth, important objective, economic goal. Economic growth refers to the increase in the GDP. Increase in GDP. This is the contribution made by all three sectors, primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. When we add all together, contribution made by all three sectors, then you will get our GDP, gross domestic product. So, if we can allocate the resources in proper manner to produce goods and services by the public enterprise for the welfare purpose, as well as for the
private organization for the profit motive, then we can increase the GDP or gross domestic product by contributing all the sectors, primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sectors. This is the fifth major objective to increase the growth, economic growth. Number 6, reducing regional disparities. Reduction in the regional disparities has views different vision of the government budget. That means different areas are there. So in order to get equal opportunities by all the states, all the regions, government is using different type of mechanisms and implementing different part of the country, or establishing different type of public enterprises in different parts of the country economy in order to reduce the regional disparities. For example, in some part of the country there is no resources, but in some part of the country there are huge resources. But how these resources can be mobilized from one place to another place? Through this mechanism can be reduced the regional disparities in the economy. So these are the different 6 objectives of the government budget. And now we are moving to discuss about the components of the government budget. What are the different types of government budget? Here I am going to present different components of the government budget. Normally, the government is maintaining 2 accounts. One is the revenue account, second one is the capital account. So on the basis of this revenue account and the capital account, we can have 2 types of budget. One is the revenue budget and number 2, the capital budget. There are 2 aspects of these 2 budgets, revenue budget as well as the capital budget. Number 1, revenue receipt and revenue expenditure. Similarly, here capital budget has 2 aspects. One is the capital receipt and capital expenditure. These are the 2 aspects of the capital budget. These are the 2 aspects of the revenue budget. These are the 2 aspects of the capital budget. So 2 components you can say, 2 sides. These are the 2 components of the government budget and these are the 2 sides of each components. Now, if it are together, revenue receipt and capital receipt both are total receipt. Total receipt is equal to revenue receipt plus capital receipt, and total expenditure is equal to revenue expenditure plus capital expenditure. Total receipt is equal to revenue receipt plus capital receipt. Total expenditure is equal to total revenue expenditure and the capital expenditure. Now we are going to discuss about what are the different sources of this revenue receipt, revenue expenditure, capital receipt and capital expenditure. So these are the different components of this government budget. Now we are going to discuss about what are the sources of revenue receipt and revenue. Let me discuss about sources of revenue receipt. Sources of revenue receipt. There are different sources of revenue receipts. There are different sources of revenue receipts. But how can you understand a receipt is a revenue receipt? The clue is that when a receipt neither creates any liability nor reducing any asset, it is known as the revenue receipt. When a receipt neither creates any liability nor reducing any assets, it is known as the revenue receipt. Then what are the sources? There are two sources of revenue receipt. Number one, tax revenue, and number two, non-tax revenue. Tax revenue, there are two types of taxes. One is the direct tax, second one is the indirect tax. What is this direct tax? The tax whose tax burden cannot be shifted from one individual to another, from one person to another, or the tax burden cannot be shifted from tax paid to other. The imposition of tax and the tax burden is a single person or single institution or organization. That is known as the direct tax. For example, income tax. Wealth tax. Corporate tax. So these are the different forms of direct taxes. What is this indirect tax? The indirect tax are those taxes whose tax burden is shifted from the producer to the consumer. Suppose this marker pen, the owner of this producer is the company who is producing it. But thing is that it is not paying by, the tax is not paying by the company on the basis of this consumption. The consumer is paying on the basis of the consumption, so that tax is known as the indirect tax. That means the owner is one, the tax is paid by other one. So the tax burden is levied on different person who is owing this one. The tax burden can be shifted from the producer to the consumer. This is the indirect tax. For example, sale tax. Now the all indirect taxes has been compiled together and forms in our new forms of taxes. This is known as GST. GST, goods and service tax. Just recently it is represented by the government. So these are the tax revenues collected by the government. Now what are the different sources of this non-tax revenue? I think non-tax revenue is familiar to you, but you are not knowing this. Non-tax revenue, revenue generated by the government other than the tax revenue, is known as the non-tax revenue. What are those tax revenues? Number one, your fees, fines, penalties collected by the government from different sources. Fees, stamp fees, revenue fees, fines, penalties collected on the basis of this criminal activities or breaking the rules of the government. These are the collection
made by the government. It is a part of this non-tax revenue. Profit on generated from capital investment by the government. Interest generated from capital investment. Profit on from the public enterprises, and interest on from the capital investment. Dividend on from capital investment. Special assessment. Special assessment made by the government on a particular area. If any additional taxes will be levied, then that will be part of this special assessment tax generated by the government. Another part is your assets, a new form. It is the property or wealth occupied by the government from the person who died without any having legal heir. If a person died without having any legal heir, whatever may be the wealth, the property, it is occupied by the government, and that is a part of this estate. It is occupied by in the form of non-tax revenue by the government. So this is all about the sources of this revenue receipt by the government. These are different sources of revenue receipt. These revenue receipts neither creates any liability nor reducing any asset of the government. They are direct income of the government. Now let me discuss about another source, that is your sources of revenue expenditure. An expenditure which neither creates an asset nor reducing any liabilities. It's coming under this sources of revenue expenditure. Coming under the revenue expenditure. Neither creates any asset nor reducing any liabilities. It is recurring in nature. It is recurring in nature. For example, what are the sources? The general administration expenditures like your defense, law and order, salaries, pensions, all these are coming under this part. Sources. Salary to the government employee, pensions to the retired persons, administrative services, purchase of stationaries. These are coming part of this sources of this revenue expenditure. Now let me discuss about what are the different sources of capital receipt. Sources of capital receipt. Receipt either creates any liability or reduces any asset is known as the capital receipt. Either creates liabilities or reduces assets either creates liabilities or reduces asset is known as the capital asset. Now, let me discuss what are the different sources of capital asset. Number one, borrowings. There are two types of borrowings. Number one, internal borrowing. Number two, external borrowing. Internal borrowings are public debts, from RBI, and external borrowings are foreign banks, foreign organizations, IMF, IBRD, World Bank. If a country is taking loan, the borrowing is a part of this capital receipt because it creates the liabilities, loan taken from other sources. Number two, recovery of loan. If government has sanctioned any loan to any state government or local government, then if recovery of that loan reduces the asset, that's why it is known as the recovery of loan is a part of this government capital receipt. Number three, other receipts like disinvestment, small savings. So these are the different forms of other receipts. Disinvestment is the process through which the equity of the public enterprise sold to the private sector. There are two types of disinvestments. One is the minority sale, second was strategic sale. If less than 49% it is sold, then it is known as the minority sale. If more than 51% is sold, it is known as the strategic sale. So this is the disinvestment, selling of the equity of the public company to the private sector. Then small savings like your KVP, Kisan Vikas Patra, NSC, National Savings Certificates. This is a part of this public debt. It is coming under this other receipts by the government, where is creating the liability for the government. So these are the sources of capital receipt. Now let me discuss about capital expenditure. Capital expenditure. Either it creates an asset or it reduces the liability. Either creates asset for the government, for the country, or reduces liability. Sources. It is non-recurring. It is not recurring in nature. It is non-recurring. Depending on the country situation, different type of construction works are taking place. Construction of ways, roadways, airways, railways, any type of dams. These are the assets of the economy. So if any expenditure made on that, it is part of this creating asset in the economy as a part of this capital expenditure. Any type of construction, any type of construction, roadways, dam, bridge, etc. Liability, another part, it can be reduced the liability if any repayment of loan is there. Repayment of loan is the part of this reduction in the liability, so it is a part of this capital expenditure. But repayment of interest is not a part of the capital expenditure. The repayment of interest is the part of the revenue expenditure, the recurring nature. Repayment of loan is the part of capital expenditure, but repayment of interest is not a part of capital expenditure, it is a part of the revenue expenditure. It is a part of the revenue expenditure. So this is all about the capital expenditure. Now let me discuss about what are the different forms of deficits, government budgeted deficits. Budgeted deficits. There are three budgeted deficits we are discussing here. Number one, revenue deficit. Number two, fiscal deficit. Number three, primary deficit. Revenue deficit, fiscal deficit and primary deficit. These are the three forms of deficits we are going to discuss in this content. Revenue deficit is equal to revenue expenditure minus revenue receipt. The difference between the revenue expenditure and revenue receipt is known as the revenue deficit. Now, what is the fiscal deficit? It is the total expenditure minus total receipt excluding borrowings. Total expenditure minus total receipt excluding the borrowings, because borrowing is a part of this capital receipt, but it is not a part we are not taking here, because this is the indicator of the current year loan requirement, current year borrowing requirement. That's why this fiscal deficit we are not taking here, we are excluding here from the total receipt. Then primary deficit is equal to fiscal deficit minus interest payment for the previous year. That means what interest we are paying for the previous year, if we will subtract from this fiscal deficit, then you will get this primary deficit. That means what? The exact requirement for the current year. What borrowing is required for this current year, we can measure through this primary deficit. Zero primary deficit, no loan is required for this current year. Whatever we are paying, we are deficit, we are paying for the previous year. Clear? So these are the three deficits we are measuring here. Revenue deficit, revenue expenditure minus revenue receipt. Fiscal deficit is equal to total expenditure minus total receipt excluding the borrowing, because this indicates the borrowing requirement. And this primary deficit indicates the difference between the fiscal deficit and interest payment, because it is the indicator of the current year borrowing requirement. Now, what is the indication of this revenue deficit? Revenue deficit indicates that mismanagement of the public enterprises. The major implication of this revenue deficit is that inefficient of the government to generate the revenue. What revenue exactly it is required, it is not generated by the government. That's why there is a deficit in the revenue part. So this indicates the inefficiency of the government. The fiscal budget deficit indicates the borrowing requirement including the interest payment from the previous year. Now, primary deficit indicates that the interest payment, the borrowing requirement, actual borrowing requirement for the current year. So this is all about the government budget and the economy. Thank you.